Hi, I'm Tracey Soltis.
And I'm Kali Alfaro. And you're listening to the Mind Body Studio, a place for anyone who wants to reach their full potential, thrive, and create a life filled with vitality.
Each week, we'll bring you our expertise, giggles, and a splash of quirky to explore real and relevant topics to help you along your life's journey.
We'll bring you science, psychology, and practicality to real life issues.
So, thanks for listening. We know you're going to love it. Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Today's amazing episode is going to be about facing our fears. Isn't that right, Kalí?
Oh, I love it. Welcome everyone. And it's sunny in Perth today and I am over the moon, seriously.
Me too. It's like the moment there's sun,
it.
I'm like, I race outside and I'm like, yeah.
So beautiful.
Get in my paws. And, you know, it's funny. I just want to mention something about that actually while we're just chatting about the sun, because now that we are starting to get more sunshine and people are going outdoors in the sun, I just want to remind people to be, one, aware of the UV index, because in Perth it is starting to increase at the moment. So if you have a smartphone, download the D-Minder app so that you can make sure you're tracking your sunlight appropriately. We don't want to see burns and damaged. But also the other thing on that too is if you're going to go out in the sunshine for the activity and the experience of enjoying the sunlight, don't wear makeup, okay? Don't wear lotions on your body, because that just stops the actual
melt. Yeah, just on your skin.
And it just stops the light from actually going through to the skin, to the cholesterol, to bind together to make the vitamin D, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, I just wanted to say that because I'm excited that the sun is out. Like, honestly,
am I.
It is the best feeling ever. And again,
I think it just goes to show how ill-equipped we are, I guess, in Perth, when we've been so spoilt with such beautiful weather. I don't think we've ever had such an incredibly prolonged, wet, rainy, stormy winter for a really, really, really long time.
this has been, I reckon last week was so windy.
I've had so many people say to me that they feel that they have seasonal affective disorder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're really
that's
struggling, with the weather. So today we're going to talk about facing your fears and some of like the beautiful aspects of what can come out of that.
Yes. And you have a very interesting story to tell us, because
I really do.
You just spent an amazing, was it a week or is it a week up north in our beautiful Coral Bay and Exmouth area, swimming with all of the beautiful creatures that live in the ocean up there, and you had a moment where you had to face your fears. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
I would love to. So for some of our listeners that have followed us for a little while, you may be aware that I dunk myself into the ocean throughout the year, and I've been winter swimming. And part of that has been intentional to face my fears. So previously I would not have gone into the water unless...
Because that was a genuine fear of yours, right? Going into the ocean.
Like massive, right?
Yeah.
Like I would never go into the water unless it was glassy, crystal clear, and I could see the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? So even on a beautiful summer's day, if it was wavy, I probably wouldn't go in.
Yeah.
Right? And now this year, especially with this winter, I have been slapped by waves more times than I can count. And that's been one of the I guess training for this experience that I've had. So I had a little winter getaway, which was fantastic because I refilled on vitamin D in the sun and vitamin C, that's SEA.
Yes. And you went with your brother, right? So what a great bonding experience for you guys.
Yeah, I went
with
my brother and we had a couple of friends up there as well. So it was really, really lovely. And one of the things that we did was we went on this snorkeling tour I'm actually going to give a shout out to the guys because they were amazing. They were eco tours from Coral Bay and they were just so incredibly knowledgeable. And we went on a manta ray tour.
Because they're conservation experts up there, right?
They're incredible, incredible. And I even sent you a text message saying I have just spent an hour in the chemist frustrated looking at reef-safe sunscreen.
I know.
And a lot of them say reef safe, and then you look at the ingredients and they have ingredients because I'm there Googling and looking at research articles. I know which ingredients to look at, and I'm not like trained to, like you are in biochemistry or whatever.
And, well, I'm going to jump in there just based on that for 1 second, and because we know that there's been some movement in the sunscreen area of recently in the news, that there have been some problems with the ingredients in sunscreen. So we know that, we've known that for quite a while now.
Not only is it bad for your skin, but it's bad for the reef. So what it does, it bleaches the reef. It's actually really toxic.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I swim really early in the morning, because I don't want to get sunburned and I don't want to put that on my skin.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I found a beautiful sunscreen that was actually developed by people from the Ningaloo Reef.
Awesome.
And it's called Sun Butter. Anyway, so we went on this manta ray snorkeling tour.
Yep.
And they really shouldn't call it just a manta ray snorkeling tour. They should just call it a wildlife tour because we saw so much wildlife.
Yeah.
And so one of my biggest fears is being out in open water. So,
and rightly so, right? I mean, we're land people. We're not ocean, like we don't have fins and
I want to be a mermaid.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right? So, so I have a genuine fear of being in the middle of the ocean and not being able to reach the bottom or see where I'm swimming.
Yep.
Add to that a little bit of current and some waves slapping at you, and there is a lot of fear. So I'm on a boat, and I'm on a boat, and this time we left some of our friends behind. So it was just my brother with me and the tour group.
Yeah.
And you literally go out. I don't know how far you go out, but it's like a 20 or 30-minute ride out from the coast. So it's a fair bit. And you just jump off the back of the boat.
Yep.
And you start swimming.
Awesome.
And there is some kind of level of expectation that you are going to keep up with the group, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the middle of the ocean, so you want to keep up with the group.
Yes, you definitely
right.
You definitely want to be part of the group. You
don't want to be like the ones that are like struggling at the back, kind of silently drowning, right?
Don't you reckon like being in the ocean when you're snorkeling is one of the most amazing feelings in the world?
Incredible.
But you're never quite relaxed. There's still that little teeny tiny inkling.
Especially in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you've got that, you're very alert, like you're hyper alert and you just like, you're ready to take off really fast if you need to take off. So you don't want to be the straggler.
No.
You don't want to be that person that's lagging behind.
But I have to admit that I jumped off. And look, I feel safer when there's a group of people. I have to admit that. But I jumped off and it was really choppy. And this was the first snorkel of the day. We had like 4 snorkels that day. And it was the first snorkel of the day. And so I was kind of getting slapped by the waves because I was freaking out, right? And when you freak out, your breath shortens, right? And so then you kind of hyperventilate a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short.
But it isn't easy to snorkel either. Like that's the other thing too. You've got a lot of stuff to coordinate.
Yeah.
Like the breathing with your snorkel, and then if you are
making sure that your mask doesn't fog up, and
totally.
all that you're doing all this like equipment kind of
management,
check, right?
The logistics.
Totally. And you're dealing with your fears, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first snorkel was choppy and it was like exhilarating, and there's something really interesting that starts to occur because you're excited by the experience, because I'm definitely like a wildlife advocate and conservationist.
Yeah.
I've raced joeys, I swim with sea lions, I go in the ocean every day. I just absolutely love seeing animals in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
But I'm also human and I have these fears. So you go through this moment where you're so adrenaline driven. And bless my brother, I grabbed onto his arm because there was a really strong current.
Oh, no.
I grabbed onto his arm and I just started kicking, right? And I could feel the choppiness of the ocean, like out of the water, but you got to keep your head down, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you got to keep up.
Yeah.
Anyway, and at one point, like, we kind of stopped and he says to me, "Are you even kicking?" You see, I think he could feel me dragging.
Yeah.
I'm kicking like mad. I'm like
gosh.
a duck underwater, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we got to this beautiful place where it was more calm and a little bit more shallow. And we suddenly, all I wanted to see was a turtle, right? And we see this beautiful turtle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unfair.
I love turtles.
They just majestically float and look around.
But they're fast.
They're bloody fast.
Aren't they?
Right?
You think they're going to be really slow because they're just like this big round thing that just kind of comes up and very gracefully and majestically like goes
they're
down.
fast.
But when they spot you, they just take off, don't they? And you
They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had, and this is the beautiful thing about snorkeling is like you just get mesmerized by the environment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was super, super excited that I saw a turtle and then I felt more confident and I was really grateful that I could also grab onto my brother and have that kind of security blanket. And then I kind of relaxed and started to kind of float and drift and go with the current and start to actually enjoy the experience. But the big thing I wanted to share with everyone was that in one of our dives, we purposefully went into a place that is called like the cleaning station.
Yeah.
And this is where larger animals come where to be cleaned by all the little fish.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what animals do you think were there, Trace?
Look. Look, I'm guessing, you know what? One of my biggest fears is I don't have a lot, but being eaten. It's definitely up there. So like I've had nightmares of being eaten by sharks or eaten by crocodiles or like I don't want to be eaten by anything.
I don't know if many people like daydream about being like rolled around in, you know, the mud by a crocodile.
Do you want to hear something really weird? I once had a dream that I was stuck on top of a red double-decker bus, right? And then there was this crocodile swimming around. And so it didn't matter where I was on that bus. Like
stuck.
From a psychology perspective.
We're not going to go into that.
What does that mean?
We're not analysing. We do not have enough time to analyse that.
To deal with all my problems.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so all right, let's get back on track.
I'm guessing there were sharks.
Yeah, there were. So I have been doing a little bit of research on how humans interact with marine life because of this cold swimming that I'm doing, right, and the effects. So I had met someone that was a shark specialist and some other biologists, and so I had gotten a little bit of inside information about which sharks are actually really lovely. And I'm going to use the word lovely because we don't really associate sharks to being lovely. And some are genuinely lovely. They're actually very shy creatures. Anyway, so it was a little bit overcast and suddenly, and I've, gained my confidence I got my breathing right. I noticed how when I wasn't breathing right, I couldn't swim properly. So I want people to think about how incredibly important it is to get your breathing right and to slow down.
Yeah.
And when I was panicked, I was definitely lagging behind in the group.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to swim properly. And then when I relaxed into the experience, I was kind of copying the turtle going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
but there wasn't just one shark, right?
So wait.
Okay.
Let me get there. So this is our second snorkel. And now I'm like super excited because I've seen a turtle and that was like on my bucket list, right?
Yeah.
And we swim out to the cleaning station, and you see big fish, right? Beautifully coloured fish.
Yeah.
And you see this magnificent coral. It was called cabbage coral. So just imagine this massive rock of a coral.
This is live coral.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was magnificent, right? But it was a little bit stirred up. It was a little bit murky.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
The sharks do that on purpose when they see humans coming.
I don't know about you, but I think it's something to do with survival.
Yeah.
You can't like misread the shape of a shark. Like you can kind of go, yeah, that could be like, you know, this type of fish or that.
Yeah.
But you just, I think, instinctively know that when you see a shark, it's definitely a freaking shark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something about the fin and the way that the tail moves, right?
Yeah. Now, hang on a second. Let me just pause you for 1 second and say, do you think you'd be as fearful of sharks, like if you didn't have all the hype in the media? Because you know how over here we have so much hype about sharks and shark attacks and drums and all of this other stuff going on, especially in Perth where, I mean, we do get the occasional visitors, you know, popping up on the beach and stuff like that, shark visitors, that is. Do you think you'd be as scared, or do you think people would be as scared as what they actually are if we didn't have all of that drummed up fear?
No, of course not.
Because I feel like that's part of it, right? It's that's definitely a big portion of it. That's what I think anyway.
But I also think, you know, ignorance is a bit of a double-edged sword because you need to understand how the animal works in its own habitat, and you need to understand the animal behaviour, right? So one of the first rules is you don't approach an animal unless the animal approaches you.
Yeah.
Right? Clearly.
Yeah,
For
totally.
safety. Like you are in their turf.
You are 100% in their environment.
And so you got to be respectful.
Yeah.
And, you know, humans are a large species.
Yeah.
So we are obviously going to be perceived as a threat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're approaching this beautiful cabbage coral, but it's murky, so you can't really see very well. And I've got like the GoPro with the big stick and just pointing it somewhere where I'm just hoping I'm going to get some kind of footage, right?
Yeah.
And then suddenly I see this unmistakable outline of a shark.
Yeah.
Right? And I am filled with adrenaline, and there is this combination of fear and excitement. And I get my head out of the water and I yell out to my brother and I'm like, hey, this one. He's like, I can see it. Anyway, we're all like super excited.
Yeah.
And then I realized that the current was actually taking me closer and closer to the shark. And so then I'm having to kind of like push away. Like there's part of the footage where all you can see are my fins because I'm like trying to kick away from the current.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because I was genuinely mesmerized by this graceful and beautiful being. And then I saw another outline of another shark. And then I start looking left and right. And suddenly I see 5 sharks.
I know. That's crazy.
And we're talking about like 2 meter long sharks.
Yeah.
And look, they were grey reef sharks, which are not known for attacking people. No disclaimer, like I'm not saying go out there and swim with sharks. Everyone take responsibility for whatever they do.
Yes.
But it's not like the great white shark, right?
Yeah.
So sharks go for easy feed, and there's plenty of fish there. Many sharks are scavengers as well. So anyway, I'm not going to pretend to be a shark expert by any means. But suddenly there's 5. There's 10 of us in the water and there's 5 sharks. And it's beautiful to observe, but you're kind of freaking out a little bit. And I'm recording and I'm like mesmerized. And suddenly like one of them turns and starts swimming towards me. And I have to admit, I freaked out a little bit and I started to kind of just swim away.
Yeah.
And as soon as it was very interesting. As soon as like my flippers kind of went, my fins kind of went, not flippers, fins kind of paddled away and sort of went in its face. I don't know if it was male or female. The shark just kind of lost interest and just like swam away.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just, I was so pumped. Even in the water, I was so pumped, and it was so incredible to see this magnificent animal in its natural habitat.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Like, and you're right, like we have to appreciate that we are land beings, and just the incredible nature of all those species that are actually in the oceans. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more ocean than there is land mass. So you can imagine, you know, how many different types and of all different types of species there are, like, that we can't see. Like, and this is just the surface level that you're able to tap into. You can't go, unless you're a deep diver, you're not really going down into the depths of the ocean. And so it's something to be really thankful for, that we live in this kind of this stage of time that we're able to observe these beautiful specimens and these beautiful beings that are out there. So that's awesome. I'm glad you had that experience. But tell me something like, what did you learn from this experience? Because
so that's what I was just going to jump into. First of all, I learned how important it is to have to not let your fears paralyze you, and to actually just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think we overanalyze things way too much.
Yeah.
For me personally, I was lucky that I had a so-called support person. He didn't even know that he was going to be my support person. But I think when you're doing something big like this, it's so good to have someone that you know that's probably going to just kind of have your back.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like, you know, grabbing your hand.
But I think that's applicable to a lot of things in life.
So many things.
I have clients come in here all the time who they've come to me because they're ready to make a change. It's come from it. There is a sense of fear because they're going to have to face things that they don't typically want to face. And it's about surrounding yourself and making sure that you do have support people around you, or support resources around you, so that you can responsibly get yourself to where you want to go in the best possible way. And so that means being okay with reaching out and, you know, getting that support and allowing people to help you and things like that. So I think that that's really applicable to so many different areas, not just going out and swimming with sharks, but for people coming in facing traumas and triggers and, you know, bad lifestyle choices and all of those things that people are trying to make their way through and that they're fearful of, and they keep pushing down, like you said before, being paralyzed. It is that sense of being paralyzed by something, and we need to break through that. We need to break through and work through that panic. I could have stayed in that panic state when we were in the open water and decided to not go back in. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to work through. I knew that I needed to relax my body. I knew that I needed to get my breathing. If I was going to swim, I needed my breathing to be calm and deep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the other thing that I learned was, once I pushed through those fears, I was able to enjoy and interact with these animals. Then we were blessed to see a dugong.
Yeah.
And then we were blessed to see some stingrays. And then we swam with a manta ray for 40 minutes and it was turning around and playing with us. And it was just incredible. Then we saw a tiger shark, a leopard shark.
Yeah.
Which is this beautiful, much smaller red spotted shark.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. And millions of turtles.
Yeah.
And so some of the listeners would know that I had an accident this year and I was in hospital because of my back. So a large proportion of this year's intention for me has been to get really strong and healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know about anyone else, but getting in and out of a boat in the middle of the ocean requires some level of physical strength, right?
Yeah.
You need to be, you know, it's not huge, but you still need to be strong and fit.
Yeah.
And So for me, it was such a beautiful representation of this whole year I've been working on getting my back really strong.
Yeah.
And getting my confidence in the ocean. And this experience allows me to put all of it together.
Yeah.
So it's no different to someone that is afraid of, speaking up when someone is bullying them, right? And you may have been practicing at home saying, I feel comfortable speaking up for myself. And then you find yourself in a situation where you respectfully speak up for yourself.
That's a really interesting one, because I almost feel as though there would be people who might be listening who would rather jump in the ocean with sharks than they would go out and face another person and have to deal with a very uncomfortable situation.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And we've spoken about this in other episodes. The more you put yourself in challenging situations, the more resilient you're going to become, the more confidence you're going to have within yourself to be able to deal with challenging situations. So if you do it intentionally, when you are faced with a situation that is challenging, your ability to overcome and deal with that situation positively increases significantly. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you're coming at anything from a place of kindness and compassion, so kindness for yourself and compassion for yourself, that you might not get it right, okay, because that happens as well. And say, for example, you did go out into the ocean and that first snorkel really did put you off, taking time out and giving yourself a bit of self-care, kindness and compassion, and going, hey, you know what, still let's give yourself a bit of encouragement and, positivity as far as actually making it that first step as well. You don't have to race from one particular point right to the finishing line in the first go. I think that that's a really important one as well. And even when you're, facing people who are going to be challenging and it is an awkward situation, if you're coming at it from a place of kindness and compassion, then you're already setting them up as well to kind of avoid a very difficult confrontation with them. Kindness and compassion for the animals that you're actually jumping in with as well.
Totally.
So.
And you learn so much about the experience. You walk away feeling satisfied that you didn't let the fear get the better of you.
Yeah.
Feeling satisfied that you were able to, in my case, ask for support, didn't actually ask, just grabbed his arm. Yeah. Feeling satisfied that generally the fear of something is bigger in our minds than the actual event.
Oh, totally. And you know what's funny? While we were talking about this story, I was reflecting back to a time when we've been snorkeling with our daughter and she has no fear. If you look at a lot of kids, they just jump in and they just do it. And you're sitting on the sidelines and you're going, wow, if that kid can do it, I can do that. The kids just jump straight in there. It's the same. Just recently we've been doing the indoor skydiving thing. And I'm really mean to post a video of Charlotte because she literally launches herself into this
little legend.
Yeah, she just has no fear, because she feels well supported, and I think she feels...
And she hasn't been brainwashed to be afraid of absolutely everything.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it as well, obviously we're very responsible parents. We're not just going to throw her in the deep end sort of thing, but, she knows that she can come to us if she is, needing some support and some encouragement, or if something... she doesn't want to do something.
But you guys are also leading by example. So she's also learning by... and that's an important thing when you're facing your fears. Surround yourself by people that are leading by example, because then that motivates us. It would be like as if the tour guide was there going, you jump in the water first. It's well, no, you jump first.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And it's like, if they jump in and, they're like, oh, this is amazing. And look, there's heaps of turtles down here. Come.
Yeah.
You encourage someone. If Charlotte sees you jumping in and skydiving, and, she's go, oh, mummy, I want to be like mummy.
Yeah.
So all of these things are so incredibly important. We need to lead by example.
You raise a really great point.
I can't sit in the clinic and say to people, try new things after an injury, after you've been in agony. And, on the plane ride there, I didn't sleep very well the first night and I was in a lot of pain and I was thinking about it, how am I going to deal with this, right?
Yeah.
And I can't preach about that if I don't put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's being genuine. So we need to push ourselves, because when we push ourselves safely and responsibly, obviously, we grow. And I think that is like the biggest satisfaction. I am so incredibly excited and proud of my experience because it allows me to increase awareness of, not all sharks are dangerous, obviously, but it allows me to lead by example. Like I have been, rehabilitating all year. Yeah. And just like you're doing with Charlotte, you are leading by example. You're showing her that it's okay to do stuff that is a little bit scary and exciting at the same time.
Yeah. And I think that's look, there's two really good points that I kind of wanted to talk about, like leading on from that, is that, yes, you should definitely surround yourself with people who are encouraging and will support you. That's a massive one. If you're tackling something that's super fearful, you don't need negative people around you at all. But the second point that I wanted to raise was we've come into this realm, this universe, whatever this is that we're actually, let's call it a simulation of sorts. We've come in here to have the full human experience, right? And so we don't want to be paralyzed by fear. Yes, it's an emotion and it creeps up for us, but that in itself is an opportunity for us to challenge ourselves, to grow, to learn, to then move on from these situations that we find quite difficult, because that's what the human experience is all about. We're here to learn and take as much from this experience as we possibly can before we pass away and we pass on to wherever it is that we're going on our next journey.
Yeah.
So, that's those 2 points I think is really important, is, surround yourself with people who are there for you, who give you the support that you need to actually, tackle and conquer your fears. And remember, you're not here for that long.
And I think people are going to be surprised, and I've spoken to a few people, in the last few months about this, about how surprisingly satisfied they feel after they have actually faced their fears. So, workplace bullying is a massive thing. And I've had a couple of people stand up assertively and respectfully, right?
Yeah.
We've practiced some of these scenarios in hypnosis, and we've skilled them up on assertive communication skills and stuff. And they have been able to positively stand up for themselves when previously they were paralyzed by fear of what the repercussion would be of them standing up for themselves in a situation that was either bullying or unjust.
Yeah.
And the sense of satisfaction that these people get, and the sense of achievement. Like, it almost makes me want to cry of like pride for them, because it takes guts to stand up to your fears.
Yeah.
And so, but the reward on the other side is so incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Yay. I've absolutely loved today's chat. I feel like it's such a positive conversation, although it's, based around fear. There's so much positivity that comes out of facing those fears. If they're done in a very respectful and well-supported way, there's a lot to gain from, challenging yourself to conquer them. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think the fact that you say that, when you do it in a respectful and responsible way, like I wouldn't go and hire a boat and jump in the middle of the ocean and try and find sharks, because I'm not with experts. I'm not with people that know what their behavior is like, right?
Yeah.
So I think being responsible and getting the right support that you need from whoever it is or whatever fear you're trying to achieve, get over is really, really important. That's part of the process.
Yeah.
So, but I would highly encourage people to imagine overcoming these sensations and pushing yourself, because the level of satisfaction that you get and you begin to build a stronger sense of confidence, a stronger sense of self, and then your ability to believe that you can do something is so much greater. And then that starts to add up, right? So you begin to evolve and grow.
You're stepping into a sense of self rather than being a shadow of what it is that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So stepping into yourself and owning yourself is basically what you want to do in this lifetime, is to become 100% authentically you. So amazing.
So from the depths of the ocean and the beautiful, cute, I'm going to call them cute sharks and turtles and dugongs and stingrays, I'm sending everyone lots of sunshine and ocean love. And whatever fears you are facing right now, I hope this has inspired you to find a way that suits you to overcome it and face it in a really lovely and positive way.
Amazing. All right. Until next time, we'll catch you later.
Thanks for listening.
The information, views and opinions expressed on this podcast should not be used or treated as a substitute for nutritional, medical, psychological or other advice by a qualified health professional. Hosts and guests on the podcast express their own opinions, experiences and conclusions. Nothing in the podcast should be used to diagnose, treat, cure or prevent any medical condition. The podcast is not intended to replace any medical or mental health treatment. All information and advice provided is for general well-being and does not take individual cases into consideration. Neither Tracey Saltis, Kali Alfaro or any sponsor endorse the opinions, views or conclusions expressed or shared on the podcast. Tracey Saltis and Kali Alfaro take no responsibility for any symptoms or consequences as a direct or indirect result of the podcast.